Looks like pound yen has just been ranging here since London session. There's been no breaks, nothing at this point. Looks like the YouTube stream is also up right now, populating in. Beautiful. We still have some people coming into the Zoom session here. All right, awesome. Let's see here. Let's see what we can get. So looking at, first of all, what we want to look at is, we want to look at Forex Factory over here, first of all. And the first thing we could identify from here is that we had a lot of news on the euro. We had a lot of news on the pound here as well. Let's refresh this so we can get some new data. So basically nothing happened, right? So there were like positive news for everything. Moving into the New York session, we have, you know, some people speaking on the USD, and then we got core retail sales for the CAD. But looking at price right now, there was no breaks over here, right? Even if you look at London session, right? So if you look at the 30-minute time frame, and if you look at the London session, I guess this candle came below support, but it couldn't break below support. This candle, same thing. One candle closed below support. Next one didn't break below support, so there's no sells. You know, we went bullish, and now we're coming back into this area again, right? So this is now where price is ranging. This is the no trade range we identified in the Asian session, basically. And I mean, as long as we don't break below, let's say 147.380, I don't think price is going to continue down, because if we continue below these rejection wicks, and if we measure this range, then our range is like 15, 16 pip range right over here. You know, and then we can anticipate price to continue down. But until that doesn't happen, I don't think we're going to continue down over here. So we'll have to come below this area first, 147.380. So let me draw a zone right over here. Yeah, this is the area we need to break for price to continue down. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything happening at this point. Looking at gold here as well on the daily time frame, we did go bearish. We anticipated price to go bearish in the Asian session, but it did continue down towards, you know, 1760s like we talked about. Looking on the 4-hour, I think we're just ranging at this point now. Looking on the 1-hour here as well. Oh, what's this? This is not the right thing I want to see. We want to see a zone right this, right? So we got support down over here. At the same time, we have, I mean, the only resistance I see is right over here. And after this resistance, we kind of have like some clean traffic right here above, you know, 1779, 1778. And it's a pretty clean range here, like 70 pip range, 76 pip range for price to potentially continue on towards, you know, 1786. So the only trade I see on gold, if it formulates, is going to be above like 1778. 1770, yeah, 1778 is going to be a pretty good trade, because we have clean candles here to the left hand side. This right here, this is just range. I mean, if you do get a break above this minor resistance, right, you still got some rejections here, so it's going to be very difficult at this point. When you speak break, do you mean close below? Yes, I mean close below, right? So look at this. This 30-minute candle, if it's going to continue moving bearish in pound yen, we need this candle to close bearish, because previously every candle that came down, it kind of like rejected and closed back up, right? So also it's a Friday, so we need a candle to kind of like close below for us to confidently say, okay, we can continue moving down. Aren't you concerned about the VIX and GJ? Probably not. That's what we talked about here. Let's take a look at this chart. This is pound yen 1-hour chart. Looking for sells below this area. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Same thing, right? Same thing makes sense over here. So even if you continue moving down to fill this wick, I think we're still going to have some more probability for price to continue down towards this area here, 147, 200-ish. Let's see here. So we got gold over here. Gold is still ranging. We got pound chart. We have Euro JPY. Let's take a look at Euro JPY. Euro JPY also came up to a resistance. This is what we were anticipating to happen yesterday. I guess it happened overnight, but still, you know, price is really, really choppy. So looking on the 1-hour time frame, we obviously have a support right down over here as well. We have another support down here as well. So I mean, if you look at it from Friday's perspective, for let's say Euro JPY, if you go from, you know, pair by pair, what we're going to see is this is ranging, right? No trade range. This is also a no trade range. So it's very important for you to identify no trade ranges. no trade range right over here, and then we have another no trade range right at the bottom right over here, right? But if we do break above, let's say 127,900, our next resistance is probably going to be around 127, 128,050, 128,060, and if we measure that range, this is like almost like a 14, 15, 15. So we might get a move above 127,900 if we break above that area. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult because we got no trade ranges at this point. All right, let's take a look over here. GJ 15-minute chart, missed sells on, missed sells in London. Okay. This is pound AUD, strong support zone, which has previously held 3 times. Okay, would like to see a 1-hour support formed. Sell idea candle breaking below. Yeah, that makes sense. So if you do break below, there's a probability we can continue down. But at the same time, if you start breaking above these highs over here, then yes, a pretty good idea for price to continue moving bullish. So that's a pretty good GA idea over there. But so far right now, pound yen is still in this vicinity where it hasn't really broken below. So we really want price to kind of like break below 147, 370, 375 for it to continue moving bearish. I think right from here, yeah, we could continue moving down in this 15 pip range. Also, it's a Friday, so Fridays are days where you're usually supposed to use less risk on Friday, because if you're going to take a loss on Friday, that means you're basically losing profits you made for the rest of the week. So it's very important you stay very cautious about the risk you're going to use on Friday. Let's take a look at this here. This is 4-hour chart on pound yen. So you're looking for sells below. Okay, right here for price to continue all the way down to the support on the 4-hour. Yeah, that would make sense, right? Looking at the daily, also we're coming down, 4-hour candle. We basically have this wick to fill at this point on the 4-hour. If you do continue bearish, on the 1-hour we need that confirmation. And yeah, I mean, if you do continue down, if you break below 147,200, very high probability we can correct this move up which we had yesterday in the London session. Remember this move up? This was on the London session yesterday. Are you going to be looking at sells only due to weekly close so we can leave a wick on the weekly? See, if you're going to leave a wick on the weekly candle, if you look at the weekly right here, if you're going to leave a wick on the weekly candle just as we did last time in December 2019, then we want these smaller zones to break, right? That's the only reason how the weekly candles are going to leave a wick, if the smaller time frames can continue moving bearish. Let's take a look here. Pound USD. Ooh, took a buy over here. Managed risk 50%. Yeah, it's pretty good. It is what it is at this time, right? We closed above resistance, 30-minute time frame, good confirmations, but didn't work out. So I guess that was a fake out. Should we consider the 15-minute support at 147.350? Yes, that's a support we have over here. Okay, let's see here. Hey, just want to say I've been looking for a mentor and I take these live sessions as a mentorship. Thank you. Oh, nice, man. Very nice. This is a virtual mentorship right over here. Would sells be valid if a candle closed below? Yeah, the thing is we're looking for candle to kind of like come below these wicks right over here, which you see, right? They're very clear. These wicks right over here. See this wick, this wick, this wick, this wick. So you're looking for candle to come below this area for it to have a higher probability to continue moving bearish. That's what you're looking for at this point. The 15-minute candle is about to close in 3 minutes here as well. This is USD JPY. Let's take a look at USD JPY here. Let's bring up USD JPY across gold. So looking at USD JPY daily time frame, daily is coming down, pretty bearish over here, trying to correct this whole move up which we had. We're also coming down to a very strong support area around 105.280 on the 4-hour time frame. So let's take a look at the 1-hour time frame at this point. Looking at the 1 hour, we basically have a support down over here now, right? And also we're creating some sort of a minor support at this point. Looking at the 30-minute time frame, it's very apparent we have a support now right here. So yeah, price is just ranging at this point on USDJPY. We got a support formed, we got resistance formed, and we are in a no trade range, 10 pip range. It's going to be a no trade range. Have we any guests for today? Yes. So we're gonna have Alex on as a guest. He's a former fund manager, and I think we're gonna have a pretty good discussion here today. We've had him on before as well. So like, you know, we'll see what time we can get him on. Looks good. Looks good. Looking for buys at the same area over here. Okay, let's see here. Euro USD analysis. Yes, so you need to send a chart on Euro USD, and then we can take a look at Euro USD. This is GBP USD, reached minor resistance, looking for sells below this area. The only thing I don't like sells on pound USD is because you got a support over here, and then you got another support right down over here. You got these rejections over here, and then I mean it's very dirty. Like, you know, it's not that clean. There are a lot of roadblocks for it to go down. So I'm going to be very, very careful if you look for sells. Same thing goes for pound yen over here. No impulse entries on Fridays. You know, looking for candle closes, good entries. Because, you know, like impulse entries are risky anyway. So you really want to, like, you know, lower down your risk. So impulse entries are going to be extremely risky on Fridays. Let's take a look at this. GA candle broke down. You took sells. Your stops are here. Okay, nice. It's going to close in about 15 minutes. So then I guess we could continue moving down here. This is GJ, sells below 147,400. See, we can't see the price. Oh, price is right over here. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. So you have to wait for the candle to close. You know, you'll have to wait for the candle to close. Oh, Alex is there. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Alex, you can unmute yourself if you want. You know, whenever.
Let me try. 1, 2, 3.
All right, perfect.
Cool. Hey man, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Only been like social media messages back and forth since I think it's been like 2 months almost, right? Like was NFP in December?
NFP.
Not quite yet.
Yeah. It was the NFP in December, and I guess it was the NFP on February as well when we wanted to have you on, but then
we wanted, yeah.
Yeah, then we went on vacations.
And basically, I messaged you and I told you like, hey, sorry, I can't be on. Or the other way around. You messaged me, hey, sorry, we can't have you on because we literally decided to travel both, right? Same day.
Yeah, exactly.
That was funny. So yeah, your Turkey trip seemed to have been good, right? At least what you're sharing with the world.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like I thought it was a new experience for me, and I thought like, you know, like a lot of other guys, it could have been a great experience for them too. So I decided to document everything. And to my surprise, man, there were no restrictions there at all. Everything is open. Everyone's just living their normal lives. Because like I asked them, hey, listen, why don't you guys have any lockdowns? They're like, brother, we lock down, we die, we make no money. You know, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because the government doesn't help them at all, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, this whole lockdown thing is it's been just crazy. Like here for us in Cyprus, same way. It's been closed since I don't even remember when the last time restaurants were open. But okay, that's like a first world problem to have. If you run a restaurant, then you have a real problem, obviously, you know?
Yeah.
Like for us as traders, we still can earn our bread. So we kind of yeah, but better prepared obviously for this. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like nobody's really. It's not good for anyone. But hey, you know what? What I wanted to say is that I really loved how you documented the whole thing, like even your trip and everything, and like your you just impressed me with how much you walk the walk, man. Like you're never tired. You're always up to the challenge. You know, you're always in your right mind, and you never, yeah, you always share. Like, and I know it looks so easy from the outside, but man, this is real love for your game. Like literally, if you couldn't do it without it, I'm really impressed. I just want to start with that.
Too kind, too kind. You know what the main reason is? The main reason is because when I do all these things, like when I like even work or wake up in the morning and still like, you know, energized and excited about everything I do, my kids, they watch me do these things, right? So when they watch me do these things, they think this is normal. They think this is how normal people act, right? If I'm going to be slouching all the time, or if I'm going to be like grumpy all the time and not do stuff and not be active, they'll think that's normal, right?
Yeah,
So
100%. I couldn't agree more. Like this, and actually to do that is like a daily thing, right? This is what most people also miss about the formula to success. It's like not something you arrive to, it's something you keep doing, and it gets better and better and better as you do it. You accumulate, you build momentum, but you never stop doing, right?
yeah, no, exactly true. You know, because like, you know, everyone watches us, so I think it's pretty good to like, you know, spread good vibes, because you never know who's gonna pick some good things off of you, right?
Yeah, true.
And that just has a snowball effect after that.
Like what I'm seeing, it's definitely rubbing off on your audience for the very least. Like yesterday, I read through these 31 pages of the session notes, you know, and that you gave out for free. And man, I thought like, damn, that someone would actually, you know, sit down and create that. For me, it's an indisputable proof that trading is part of culture today. You know, it's not like some job people want to have. You know, it's so to me it feels like the early '90s in hip hop in a way. I don't know. I brought it up the last time already.
Yeah.
You know, like trading Forex seems to be really deep in the culture these days, and it's undeniably like kids want to be traders these days. You know, and I think that's great. But it also comes with a responsibility, and that's what you definitely, you know, I'm trying to do the same differently than you have a different style to what I do, obviously. But yeah, you've got to do that, right? Walk the walk, as you said, you know. And I, like for me, same. I have also kids, and it's important for me. Yeah, those are the notes, man. Like when someone would sit down with this dedication over this amount of time and actually filter out sessions where there was a repetitive lesson to just distill it down to the most important ones. Damn, like really, if that isn't culture, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's crazy. The guy sent me the email. I'm like, wow, so you sat down from January 2020 all the way to May 2020 and wrote down notes like, look, NY session 25th February goes all the way into like, you know, March 18th, 19, 24, 26. I mean, there was a lot of work.
And you're giving that out for free as well, like basically honoring the guy for doing it on top. Like I love that. It's really cool. Like this, how you the community pushes the culture. You know, it's like basically it's a self-enforcing feedback. I love that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So guys asking in YouTube chat, where can we read it? I just sent you guys the link. I sent you guys the link so you can go download it, read it, whatever. But the thing is, there's going to be someone out there who's going to probably copy it, remanufacture it, and try to sell it. You know, and it is what it is. You know, you just gotta be okay with that.
Man, you had me dying yesterday with the guy. He was trying to impersonate her voice as well, even, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. Unbelievable. All the stories, like what they come up with, man, incredible. Like, but you see it right, you man. You also, like, you know, guys, you want to be traders, you've got to pay attention to details. If these guys take you for a fool, man, you got to take another job. Like seriously.
Yeah, for people who don't know what we're talking about, this is what we're talking about. Right. So yesterday, someone sent me a message that someone was impersonating not even me, but even my voice. So let's see if I can get that over here. Let it load. All right. This was... Oh, right here.
Unbelievable.
Oh, there's no voice.
I've told you more someone.
People.
Yeah.
Almost.
So what happened is that he asked him, right? So the certificate don't mean anything. You still haven't sent me a voice note, so I know you're Raja Banks.
Hello, it's me, as a bunch. If you want to invest, you invest. I've told you so many times about this trading investment platform.
That's
But,
not even my
but it's,
accent.
that's what I'm saying. You really tried to impersonate you. He was like, it's insane. Like if people would put so much effort into a real legit work, man, they would come up with great stuff. I don't even know why they put all this energy in this shit, you know?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, like in a way, look, if people try to impersonate you, take from you, that means you're doing the right thing, you know, you're on the right track. So I went on a podcast yesterday, for example, on LinkedIn, and I, you know, was voicing my unpopular opinion about how the Forex industry works, you know, how they make money repeatedly. I've been kind of pushing that envelope a bit. And, you know, because a lot of Forex brokers out there are actually their client's adversary. They make money from their clients' losses. And anyway, you can see the talk on my YouTube if you want to learn more about that, obviously. But what I wanted to say is that, you know, like you actually, you know, I think we have to rise up to our challenges and face them. Everyone where he and has like most of the knowledge about. And also, I think that people actually learn in your streams is that, you know, there's virtue to challenge, right? I mean, you didn't grow to this guy over a day, you know, and if you were just interested in easy stuff, you've never go that far ever, you know, like, and even now where people would say, you made it, you're actually just getting started as you feel, right? And so now you're even more and more capable to do more and more. And that's the thing. Like, I would love for people to understand that really the better it gets, if you continue to consistently put in the work, you know, and that's really how, you know, how the universe works. You know, I always like to break down things from the macro to the micro. You know, everything is, and we do that in charts also, you know, like look from the large to the small ones. But improvement always comes from, you know, planning, trying, failing, learning from it, adjusting, trying again. That's the secret formula, guys. If you've been looking for it, that's kind of it. It's that simple. But it's a lifelong process. And we're much better off accepting and working with that, from my opinion. And actually, we're students always, from the day we get born until the day we die. And if you adopt that point of view, you actually can't lose. You know, you really can't lose, and you can't because you always continue. But I don't want to, like, if you have like a trade going on here, to screw all the opportunities today by me talking.
Oh, there's nothing. There's nothing. Like
nothing at the moment. Yeah,
Euro yen is ranging. Pound yen has been ranging since Asian session yesterday. Gold is still in the range. Gold basically, we called really good moves on the weekly on gold from like 1808 all the way down to 1760s. And after that, we're just done at this point. We're just waiting now for next week, like, to see what happens. But usually Fridays are days where, like, you know, we kind of like encourage people to kind of like look over how your week went, how you could have done things better, because the thing is Fridays. So like, you know, sometimes, you know, guys ask, why are Fridays so difficult? Fridays are not difficult because, you know, there are no trades. They're difficult psychologically, right? Because it's the last day of the week. If you haven't had any wins, like for the past week, you're looking for big wins on Fridays, you know. And normally when you start to do that, you start to overtrade, you start to over risk a little bit. You know, sometimes I also tell guys, hey, like, you know, if you're going to take a trade on Friday, don't take a risky trade. If you're going to take a risky trade, really lower down your risk on a Friday, because you really want to limit your exposure to your capital on Fridays, and especially Mondays, you know, because Mondays are first days of the week and I don't want to get in the trade on a Monday.
So how did you learn that? Like, how did you decide that you will not trade on a Friday? Because you noticed you're just screwing up more often on a Friday. You saw that in your journal, or somebody told you, or like, I would love to know how that rule came into being.
Yes, like, so till Thursdays I would have profits, right? And Fridays normally we would have some volatile news. You know, sometimes we'd have like, you know, haphazard volatility, and due to volatility, sometimes I would have a losing trade. So in the beginning, when I would have a losing trade on a Friday, that meant that I sacrificed some of my profits I make for the week. So with that loss, I would want to make that loss back on a Friday. And that's a bad idea, because now if I want to make that loss back on a Friday, there's a risk that I might take another losing trade. and that means I'm compromising more profits of the week. So I
Right.
decided, hey, like, you know what?
Basically, you're losing on two ends, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I decided if I'm going to take a trade on Friday, I may just take one trade. And if I'm going to take one trade on Friday, it's going to be a much smaller risk than I would use on, let's say, a Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday. So to
Okay, and you
protect.
found that out from from reviewing your own trading, basically.
Oh yeah. So basically to protect myself from myself, right? Because like most people don't have those rules to protect themselves from themselves. It's very, very important. But also, Alex, I think that's the hardest thing to do too.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, like I said, this thing. Also, in my mentorship, I talk a lot about Stoicism. I don't know how familiar you're with that. It's like a form of Roman Greek philosophy, and it's really more about rising up to the tasks and don't want an easy life. Try to have good, stand up for good and for what's right, and really, the obstacle is the way, is what they say, for example. It's maybe an overstatement for today's convenience society we're in, but there's, when you realize or when you internalize these concepts, you actually are more able to walk the extra mile and want to really work on stuff. And also, you leave things out of the era of your things you don't have control over. You don't worry about. You worry about the things you can control and really go all in on those and try to decipher both from another. Like which things you don't have any control over, which things you can actually impact. And like one of the great Stoics, like Seneca, you probably heard that name at least. He said, like, as long as you live learning how to live, and to err is human. Basically, we all make mistakes all the time, but to persist in the mistake is diabolical, and that's kind of, this is what a lot of people don't see. When you want to be a trader, it's also about that. You need to accept that you make mistakes, but you can't dwell on that shit, and you can't continue to do it, and you cannot, get married to your opinion, or never actually. And the more you can do that, and the more you can really work and see things for what you're doing and the results you're getting and where you're supposed to better have more chances of changing than on other areas, then that makes sense. And that's why I like, your specification. Like, you're really specific: the time of the day, the limited symbols, the attempts of trades, the risk management. Everything's like very, very tight.
Yes.
And and that's why it works for you, but it takes someone to be able to deal with all that, right? And that may and that's actually the real challenge here. But what we're seeing is consistency, right? Consistency is mainly the ingredient to getting what you want from life. And also, I wanted to ask you that, because I certainly believe it's true, but people think like once you have some money or made some money or can trade, that kind of, you're good, but yes, you are good, but then every new level has new challenges that you need to conquer, right? Like, this doesn't stop. Tell me about your experiences with that. I'd love to hear that.
Before that, there are some people who are wondering, like, who you are, like, where you're from, what you do.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So if you could give like a quick, quick rundown, like, I think that's
sure.
really appreciate it.
I almost felt too much at home here already. No, because I was on in December, and basically I've been in this trading thing for over 15 years. I started with losing all my money and needed to work my way up from really. I worked for a private bank as an intern, man. I was cooking coffee, cleaning rooms, basically, in the beginning, but I really learned about trading a lot there, about how the whole technology, the setups, the structures, the businesses, the legal, the everything. And then I had a couple clients there, very few ones that were wildly successful, and those were guys that I got mentored by, and eventually I moved over basically into asset management. We were also quite successful at the time. We won best macro manager from Hedge Week in New York, for example, or the Investors' Choice Award in London. So this is credential talk at its finest, And then I went basically trading my own money only. I still do this today, but I about like a couple months ago I started, and actually because I helped friends understand their trading thing better, I started a mentorship. So I'm really helping people to get the best out of themselves and really develop a strategy that works for them, that has a chance of winning, and also give them, it's a little bit similar like you do, an environment for growth, like an environment for accountability, environment where we look at them individually, like, what are you doing? What are you doing right? What are you you're not doing right, and really try to help them find their own kind of thing. Teach them how to go through self-realization moments and become your own doer and maker. I'm not here to teach someone my fishing strategy, but basically really help them find out what's it about with this whole fishing. What do you need? What is the functions that you need to capture with which forms? And what's the mindset I have, and all these kind of things. So so that now I went overboard officially, but that's what I do. That's who I come from.
Yeah, someone said that this is the guy who used to hunt your stop losses. No. Just because
Well, that's definitely the guy who knows that there are institutions out there that do that. Yeah. But you know how you don't get fished your stop losses? By not putting them there, or by paying attention in your back testing or in your trading, that which levels may seem this. You call it liquidity grabs, I suppose. So that you need to plan around these things. You can't look. I cannot hate a lion for being ferocious. That's just nature. Deal with it. Find your place in nature. And you're actually a creator, you're a human being. So actually, you can choose what you expose yourself to and what not.
Yeah, no, that's right. And let me ask you, how have you seen retail trading change in the last 10 years from you working in the bank and stuff like that, and then now what we have in front of us at this time? We have MetaTrader. We can have our money at risk within seconds, and I'm sure you weren't able to do that 10 years ago or even 15 years ago.
No, everything has gotten so much more efficient, faster, the quality is better. But I need to answer to this one here because guy's asking if I was promoting no stop trading. Absolutely not. Okay, don't misunderstand me here. I'm just saying, please don't put your stop losses at levels where you get kicked out all the time. If you notice that in your results, then you should adjust to it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't trade with the stop losses. Okay, just to make that one clear. Sorry. Yes, I think the opportunities today to make it in trading are bigger as ever. The technology is faster, news is accessible, executions, basically everything is at a fingertip. Just trading view alone is a transformation of ability. And so I think people today, if they're serious about this and they want to work on themselves, it's in a way it's like wanting to become an NBA pro or an NFL pro or a pop artist or whatever, or a rapper if you want, for the lack of a better comparison. You need some talent, yes, but you can really do a lot with work and keep up and make money, be independent and really trade for yourself and make a living out of it, actually create a business out of it.
Yeah, I know, that's absolutely right. Things have really made it easy now. That's what I tell guys, right? Back in the day, I think it was extremely difficult to execute on trades because, of all the restrictions you had. But now, since we have all these platforms, we have MetaTrader on the phone, in seconds, we could put our money at risk. And I think that also...
Look, my first boss was still drawing charts with his pen, man.
Oh, yeah?
Think about that. Sorry, I interrupted you. It's just technology is really the democratizing factor here for all of us.
Yeah, it's good and bad, right? It's good and bad. You can make a lot of money really fast at the same time. At the same time, you can lose a lot too. But I guess at that point, your own psychology comes into play when you're trying to trade that way.
And that's the thing, because it looks so easy and so cool from the outside, and there's a lot of, let's just say, profiles out there that push that. It's not, even, being Drake also looks easy, but it's not. The guy has been working on his, talent since he was a little kid, in a way. Really, guys, you want to win with something, you've got to go deep. You got to stop this easy I can make this overnight shit, and really work on learning the craft, building skills, sticking to it, and I think this is a great environment to do it here for free. Damn, what else do you need to really get out of your own ass, first of all, and then you can decide, okay, maybe scalping is too action taken for me, or maybe not, then you can start to, once you understand things better, the elements and why you do what you do, then you can start to cater that more to your lifestyle and the way you see everything. But in a way, really, it's doing a lot more than overly thinking about it and being afraid. But yeah, like you said, going out and being stupid in your decision making, being impulsive, and not paying attention to the length of the decision you make, that's always a shortcut to misery, you know. And trading is just a very fast arena where you get punched in the face very quickly, you know. And if you, yeah, it's true, right? I mean, and if you don't have a plan, even having a plan is difficult. This reminds me of, you know, of Mike Tyson. I love what he said. That he says, you know, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so
that's why you got to get punched in the face a couple of times so you know how it feels, and you know that you're going to stand up again, and how you avoid getting punched, that you get knocked out, basically. It's the same principles, really. The principles behind all of these things, they are not complicated. They're super clear. You see them in every fucking movie if you want to pay attention, you know. But doing it, that's kind of the thing that I think the reality of it, this is what social media, I think, is rather good for. Obviously, there's also this fake shit stuff, you know, but the reality of this craft, of the doing on a day by day, as long as there's guys like you showing that, you know, this is the truth of it. And so people have to choose, you know. That's the thing. You can't take yourself out of the responsibility. You want to do something out of yourself, you want to become successful, the first thing you got to take is your own responsibility. If you don't take responsibility for yourself and for your actions and for your future self, basically, by doing shit day to day without even getting gratification for it, then that's the best you can expect back from life. That level of commitment that you're giving. The more you're giving, the more you can expect back, but it doesn't come very quickly usually. You know, it can happen quicker, it can happen not quicker. That doesn't really matter. And because it's about consistency, keep doing something, go in depth, become an expert, learn something really, and then this is where you see breakthroughs.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think this year, what I've been really pushing is I've been pushing on, like, you know, if you take a trade, you need to revise the session, you know, because I think, like, I mean, I talk to a lot of people every day, right? And I look at a lot of charts, you know, like a lot of guys, like, you know, they come to me to complain to me about losses and this and that. And I always say this, like, listen, whenever you end your session, it's your responsibility to go over that session to see how it went, how you could have done things differently, how you saw things differently. Because when we were kids, right, when I was in my 6th grade and 7th grade, every day I'd come home from school, my dad would say, hey, listen, you guys need to sit down and you guys need to revise everything you studied in school. Every subject, go over all of that. And it's going to help you tomorrow. And we used to think, oh yeah, you know, no, like it's okay, whatever. But now in my professional life, whenever I end my session, I've made it a big habit to go over everything I did, everything I saw. If I had a winning trade, how I could have, like, you know, more capitalized on that trade. If I had a losing trade, especially, what did I do wrong? What was there something that I missed? What was there something I did not see or ignore at that time? Because the more I see that, the better I'm going to get for tomorrow. Because, you know, like it's what they say, like in the market, patterns are going to happen over and over again. And I believe the reason why the patterns happen over and over again is because 90% people always lose. They lose on same situations, like buying the highs, selling the tops, like you know, like the bottoms, or like entering too early or too late. So that causes patterns to happen over and over again. And if I have a losing trade someday, and if I'm going to learn from that, man, trust me, that situation is going to happen again. And then it's going to be your responsibility to kind of like identify that, hey, listen, I took a loss on this maybe last week, so probably this week I'm going to be a little bit more careful. Right. And I just hope, like, you know, more and more people to start revising the sessions, going over everything they did. So, like, and that's really going to help them. Plus, also right now we can see some people send gold charts. I think gold is just ranging at this point, unless we break above 1778.
In any case, I completely agree with what you say. But by the way, I think that there's already stuff showing. Like I came across a couple of people that been in your streams or also been through market fluidity and really already had something good going on for themselves, and they just tried to also conquer another level or try to challenge themselves differently, which is how they ended up talking with me eventually. And actually, I have a funny story to tell if you have a minute about that.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of
Uh,
minutes over.
yesterday or the day before, I had a guy, basically he sneaked himself into a consultation session with me.
Oh.
Pretty cool actually, because it reminded me of one of the first Suits episodes in a way. If you've seen that, I don't know
Oh
if
yeah,
you've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
any
yeah.
of that.
Yeah, the lawyer stuff where the guy just
So
sneaked himself in the interview.
exactly, and just had so the guy is from the US, so made a smart impression on me, sharp kid, and he seen me on your stream the last time. That's how we got to me. And then he said, so the call was supposed to be about my mentorship, my current mentorship program, where I mentor aspiring traders, to find the best in themselves, develop their own trading strategies in a systematic way, and that stuff, that we call the prime system. But this guy, he wasn't interested in any of that. He's been with you, he's been on your streams, he's been with Q Banks and all these other big names that I don't want to list all now here. And he said that he's learned from the very best, and he had his trading completely under control now, and he's printing profits basically day in, day out now for a while. Very committed, and really it didn't seem like BS, like I mean, I don't know for sure, obviously, but why would he talk to me? Because he didn't really ask me about anything about my mentorship. So here I was finding myself in a situation where he was asking me about, how to set up a prop trading company operation, how to trust your broker, how to raise money, basically all the stuff, all the challenges that you would face after you've become a profitable trader. And you wanted to develop that ability and scale it into a business operation now. And in fact, I think I had a lot of good answers for him. And because it literally was stuff I've had years of experience with. Like I didn't really need to it was nature for me, second nature, very easy. And that basically hit me hard because suddenly I realized that there must be an enormous amount of talent out here, like guys that already trade profitably, that are committed to this trading thing, and that could really also, change their whole life, especially if they took it further, focused more seriously, and made a business out of it. And what it gave me now as an insight, so basically reverse engineer what the market is giving me, in this case, not the trading market. So I want to focus in my mentorship as a next challenge, like offer, consultation about probably also whole solutions, like what, for this use case, when you're already profitable and you really need someone to walk you through the steps needed to create a business operation out of that, and I think that the idea of that, I really love that, because in a way, obviously people need to train, they need to learn the craft, but once they do it, then also there comes other challenges. Just because you're good at trader now, it doesn't mean you're a good businessman, or you know how to raise money, or how to network with the right people, or how to do something out of this now, and so that kind of struck me as an idea that found me. I didn't look for it in a way, and I take these things always quite seriously when they happen to me, not the other way around, when I don't go out chase them.
Let's see here. Can we start analyzing the trade already? There's no trades at this point. You see your JPY was just ranging at this point. Pound yen ranging at this point, no volume. Looking at gold, we're still in range at this point, so there's nothing happening at this point. Why can't profitable traders not just focus on trading alone if they are so profitable? I think once you get profitable in any way, you start to look at other opportunities, right? It's like when you run a business, right? So I was talking about this to my brother yesterday, and I was talking to him about, okay, like, you're pretty successful. So those of you who don't know, like my brother, he's in a leather business. They were widely successful last year for the last 2-3 years, and they're really trying to dominate the Canadian market. And we were talking about yesterday that, hey, like, listen, you're really profitable in Canada. What's stopping you from not going in the US? Because having a store, like in a smaller country, is like having a store on the side of the road. But once you go to a market where there are a lot of people, that's like opening like a bigger store, like a bigger mall, right? And he's like, well, there's some challenges. I'm like, no, there are no challenges. You're just profitable here, and you're getting comfortable at this time. So there's nothing stopping you from going to another country and doing the same process but 10 times bigger. So whenever you're in business, you're getting profitable, you're always looking at other opportunities to see, like, what more challenges I can get, right? Right? Like what more things you can do better to have like a bigger gains at the same time too. So that's why I think when you have profitable traders, they start to look for other avenues of income at the same time. And that's basically natural, right? Like you look at animals, if animals like, they hunt in specific areas, if, food like dries up there, they move to another area. They're like, okay, let's go over there to see what we can find over there. And that's been the case from the start of time, like when we had nomads, right? Nomads would go from places to places in search of more and more food or in search of more and more fertile land. So when you're in business, you're looking at more fertile market you could go into dominate. So that's why I think profitable traders look for other profitable ways to make more money, and that's just basically natural, right? And some people don't like it because they lack the what's the word? They lack the will to do that themselves, So I think at the end of the day, you got to be more of a doer than a complainer. Because complainers don't get anywhere. Like we get a lot of complainers here in the YouTube chat as well in this live stream, and it's kind of like boggles my mind sometimes.
Yeah, you always have to go with the flow. You always have to work with the opportunity in front of you and push yourself for more, develop more, try to see what is more, how can I make it more effective, what is more, where are the details in that I can improve on, review, like you said, go through your session, work with the journal. These kind of things are absolutely important and key.
I'm here to learn about the charts. I'm more grateful for your knowledge, bro, but now I'm confident in placing my trades. Oh, nice. Congratulations. Yeah, I think a lot of guys have found consistency through these streams, and that was our motive when we started the streams. In the start, we had 20 people watching live. We got to like 50 people watching live, and man, now we get easy 3,000, 3,200. Last week we had 4,200 people watching, and it's just amazing the way it's like when you have, even if you have 10 people watching you, it's like 10 people standing behind you just watching your screen, and that's like huge, so I never got over the point that, okay, even if it's like 10 people, 100 people, or 1,000 people, I think it's all the same thing here for me. Can you ask him what he trades? Alex, what do you trade? What's your vice in trading?
Presently, I'm actually mainly trading cryptos, to be honest. At the moment,
Okay.
I'm mainly in the crypto market. I have a couple of altcoins running, nothing too crazy. And I'm waiting for more opportunities. Like I have some FX algos running. There's always some intraday algorithmic quick stuff. And this is what I mainly do at the moment. But I always wait for opportunities in the market. I'm always scanning. I don't have this exact like you, this one thing that I'm so extremely deep in. And but I'm always trying to look for new opportunities, optimizing what I already have, venture into other markets. Exactly, or specifically what we've seen in the crypto in the last couple of weeks, just insane. It was like a bit of a no-brainer to just enter and take some out of it, and but again, I've been in that space or trading in that for a number of years, not just today. So it's not like now I had to find out how to open an exchange account or how to do all make a trade there or any of that. But I had less of an engagement there. So that's kind of what I do. I try to also I invest also money with other traders, successful traders, basically. And so I'm always exposed to new ideas, new strategies, new algorithms, and that's kind of my play field that I'm always in and out of.
Nice. So you're basically well diverse in a lot of things at this point.
Especially, yeah, right. And probably though all trading.
Yeah. Please, can you ask Alex, can we predict a stop loss hunt? Any input? I don't think we can predict a stop loss hunt.
Actually, I think, man, like the reason I said this earlier, I think like the longer you try to chase this ghost, the more you probably not find a solution for it, because it's what they do is there are factors at play. You could look, for example, what's the sentiment data? Like when a lot of people are in the same direction invested and you're close to some sort of a support resistance level that's not too far away, chances that level will be pushed and overextended to a bit is quite higher, or elevated. So this is the way I would look at it. For example, try to add some more sentiment data if you can access it. There's Owanda, FXCM, or some of those give this for free. Actually, it's an indication. It's a little bit more difficult difficult in FX because it's not a centralized market like an exchange, for example. But that would be something I would try to look at to try to solve this issue.
So what if let's say okay, so let's talk about gold here, right? So let's say someone was short on gold this whole week, right? Someone was short on gold this whole week and gold came down to a level on the 4-hour at 1780 and they were still short. And let's say someone took buys because this level has been respected for, let's say, about a month or 2 months, and they take a buy. Now once they take a buy and price falls down, to them that's going to feel like a stop hunt. But for someone who's going to be in a sell, they'll just say, oh nice, we're breaking support, awesome, works well. So I think in that case, stop hunts and looking for confirmations, they go hand in hand, because like if you're not going to look for confirmations of a buys, then obviously like there's a very high chance the price is going to continue moving down. So I think like people talk about stop hunts in a not a very correct way when they talk about stop hunts. Stop hunts are basic. What I think is they're just extreme liquidity grabs which break the highs and break the lows and then they continue on your way. And I think they do happen, but not as often as people think at like major supports or resistances. What's the process of an institution to take a position on a pair? I personally think they look at higher time frames, daily, weekly positions, based on monthly, based on other fundamental variables which we don't know, as a retail trader.
Yeah, and also they have a book of clients which you don't know. You don't know like how much of their position is based on how much of their clients are invested in one or the other side. They may piggyback some or may go against their clients too, because they, you know what I mean? Like there's another level of decision making happening based on data we will never get to see. Does this make sense? Like, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I think when you were talking about that, what I was thinking about was how this whole GMC stock thing happened. I think what happened was that the hedge fund that backs Robinhood, they were invested against the clients. But when the clients started winning, they started crying about it, because obviously, like, if they started winning, now they had to pay them out of their pockets. And I think that's where this whole situation happened, that now this hedge fund is losing a lot of money because they're invested against the clients in hoping that they will lose, but instead they started winning. So I think, yeah, that's where my thought went when you started talking about, like, how the institutions are vetted against their clients.
Yes, absolutely. That's a pretty simple explanation, actually.
When the 1 hour candle closes above the wrist, I think it's possible to fill the wick to the left. I would not think so. I mean, it could happen, but I'm willing to stay out of this range. This is a range, and price has been trading within this range since a New York session yesterday. So I think it's going to be better to either wait for a break above 147, 740 for price to continue bullish, or to wait for a break below, like, 147, 370 for it to continue down. Looking for buys if we close above. Yeah, sure, you guys can, but like, you guys also have to understand that this is where price has been ranging for a long while. And even if, let's say, I look for a buy over here, I'm going to measure my range. The range is like what, 11 pips over here, 11 pip range minus your spread, 1.5 pips comes up to 9 pips, and then, I mean, it's not a very solid range. Even though if it goes up, I'm willing to miss out on this trade, because the better move is going to be above 147, 720. Because especially it's on a Friday and you have to put yourself in the best and easiest position to win. So that's why I think for me it's really important to wait for a break above this area here. What's the correlation between US 10-year Treasury note on a US dollar for the short term weak and strong? I have no idea.
Well, basically, when the yields rise, that means that the dollar is more it pays more yield again. So basically, it's more interesting for investors anymore to get interest on simple dollars, and that's why when the yields rise, basically it means that the U.S. dollar has a higher chance of going higher as well, and that's, I think, what we've seen in the last days as well.
Anyone looking for a close above on GU? All right, let's take a look at GU over here. GBP USD. So looking at the weekly, starting from the weekly is obviously pretty bullish at this time. Looking to the left-hand side, we're approaching some sort of a rejection area at 1.40. Looking at daily time frame, let's take a look here to the left-hand side. Since we don't have any data, we have to look all the way to the left here. So the only thing I can see over here is probably around 30 pips away at 1.4030. Looking on the 4-hour at this point now, we're obviously moving bullish. We're creating a support over here. We broke above this resistance at 1.39800. Looking at the 1-hour time frame, all right. So now we have some more information on the 1-hour time frame. We have a resistance at 1.40. We have a support formed 1.39880. Looking at the 30-minute time frame, much lower. Yeah, so we're ranging at this point. I think if we do break above, this is the area we need to break above over here, 1.40, for price to potentially continue moving bullish. At least till like 1.40200. If there's more momentum, we could possibly continue up towards 1.40300. For that move, I think, yeah, we have some USD news, some CAD news too. So we'll need some negativity there for price to really continue bullish. So we'll see what happens. So this is what I'm going to be looking at here. Clean range to go bullish, but if you start coming down, you have a bunch of rejections. So you have a rejection right down over here, and then you have a major support below that area. So I think a better selling idea would be below 1.39750, below this area here, because we have clean candles that moved up here previously. So pound USD is right there. Can you please explain the best way we can use something like Forex Factory to help support our trades? The best way I use Forex Factory is, now, let's say if I'm going to wake up in the New York session and if I see some big moves happen overnight, the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to forexfactory.com and I'm not going to look at the calendar, but I'm going to look at news, right? Because when I go to news, this shows everything that happened overnight, which wasn't planned in the calendar. Because this is the thing, right? These news events in the calendar, they're all planned and scheduled news events, right? Sometimes we have breaking news events that are not planned. They happen off the whim. And that's something you can see in the news tab right over here. You can see like some things like, which are here, they weren't planned in the calendar. So this is what I'm going to look at the first time when it comes to the chart, to see if something happened overnight and if I can really read something like as a red folder to see where prices are going to go for the New York session. And then obviously we look at the calendar to see what time we have the news coming in. Like let's say at 8:30 we have CAD retail sales. So if we have CAD retail sales in about an hour, I'm probably going to stay away from CAD because the retail sales are probably going to dictate where price is going to move. You'd be surprised how not many people know about Forex Factory. And that kind of blows my mind. I'm like, well, that's the first thing you should look at. Forex Factory, my FX book, daily effects.
It's unbelievable. Someone would not know that and want to trade. Crazy.
Can we find out volumes from session volume indicator? Session volume indicator, I don't know what that is. But the way how I look at volume is time, right? So if I look at time right now, it's 7:30. So 7:30 a.m. Eastern is like pre-New York. There's volume at this time. Then you're going to have New York Open. There's going to be volume at that time. If price doesn't really move during that time, then you're going to look at the next time when there's going to be volume. It's going to be at NYSE Open, New York Stock Exchange. And then you have volume time during London close, right? So it's more to know about times. He's asking about Chinese indicator. Oh, yeah, no, this is just a joke over here. We use Chinese indicator. We call it the Chinese indicator. because it shows you the bias of the currencies, but most of the times they are lagging, right? So it's totally like it like misguides you. So that's why we call it the Chinese indicator, because most things in China, they basically don't work for longer. So this doesn't really work for longer. Just took a look over here. Oh, took a trade on pound yen over here, even though price is in a range. Nice. So again, this is a no trade range. You guys have to understand this. If you want to take risky trades on Friday in a range, man, that's all up to you. But it's going to be extremely difficult if you're going to, I mean, you're going to have a really hard time trying to trade in a range. Any knowledge in round numbers, since you're coming from an institutional side and interested in algo trading area in FX? I think it's coincidence that price bounces off of round numbers, like, you know, 147, 800, you can say 900, you have even numbers like 148, you have 500 levels, 300 levels, 200 levels. You know, I mean, if you see price rejecting a level, I think it's just coincidence that also those are round numbers are also very important in some aspects, that you could say, okay, price may reject a certain level or stuff like that. We have Mr. RBV in the Gulag, Forex made easy. Hey, I took this trade in London session from your concepts. Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look what you did over here. So this is a sell. Oh, nice. Nice. You took a sell after the candle closed below support and price came all the way down. Beautiful. And you had a clean range here to the left hand side too. Let's see here. I've understood from earlier, we create the zone from bodies and thereby want the candle to close after that zone. Yes. This time earlier, you preferred to have the zones at the wick zones, but I have to love your opinion. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason why I want the candles to come below this rejection area is because in the past, look how many candles made wicks in this area, right? Candle came in. So at one point, this candle was bearish, right? This candle was bearish and then it went up. So you need a candle to close over here. So this is what I'm looking for, right? You would want a candle to close something like this. So you could say that, okay, this candle is doing something all these candles couldn't do, which is to close below this area. So if you can get one candle closed like this, then you could say, okay, like you know what? Now there's a high probability for the next candle to continue moving bearish. I'll be right back.
So that's it, right? Sometimes it's just sit and wait.
Hey,
Hello,
Alex, I
Mr.
got a
Alex,
question.
how are you?
Sure. It was just like more than one guy, I guess.
Yeah, it's, my apology, I cut in.
What
All good, all good.
what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Wow, that's actually an interesting question. I don't remember too much, actually. I like my dad was a dentist, but we were like an immigrant family, so basically it was all working all the time, you know. So I was just like forced to be working, but I was supposed to go to university, learn something, go study this kind of stuff. But if you ask me what I really wanted, I never really thought about that too much, and it was kind of only pushed around by life. And at some point, I went into music. I like music a lot, and I spent a couple of years actually there. And this is how I made my first money. And this is when I lost all my money when I went into trading with that. And this is how. And from then on, it was basically just a fight to get back up on track, and that never ended until today, basically. Even though we definitely recovered well from the initial setbacks, but. Yeah, so I guess if I had to answer this question quickly, it would be a musician. Funny though.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yeah, I just have one quick question. So you said you trade the crypto, right?
At the moment, yes.
Yeah. So when you trade crypto, do you use like patterns, or do you have a different style of trading?
Basically, guys, the last couple trades I did there, you would be surprised how simple they are. Basically, we're looking at daily closed candles above market structure with a stop loss that is quite below the market structure on the daily, and a potential target that is typically at least like a 5-to-1, 8-to-1. This is the only the only market I know where you could really think of these kind of targets. And what you do is you only enter after the candle close on the daily, in fact, and let it run. And I trail it on the moving average, the 20 moving average on a daily close basis, and that's it. That's the whole thing to it at the moment. Why? Because it's a very bullish momentum-based market. Everybody is a genius in a bull market. They don't say these things for no reason, you know. And so I don't need to overcomplicate my method. I'm looking for confirmation by price breaking market structure to the upside on a daily candle close. This is my entry, especially if I have the ability to have a larger, like a smaller market structure that I broke structure from to the upside. And then my stop loss is not too far away. And then the risk reward is in a great place. And at the moment, a lot of things go up. Obviously, you do some research about the projects that you're investing in. You're not trying to be completely obnoxious to these things. And that's it. That's really it. That's the whole formula.
Yeah, I completely agree about the projects. Yeah, I did some research on a few that I'm holding, but I just wanted to know the strategy that you use, basically.
Yeah, and I'm not looking for like these this super rare Uber find, like that nobody knows about.
Oh yeah, for
but
sure.
Like adequately funded, well traded. Not only Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously, but that's kind of the criteria.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of other great projects that are there available, and that's what I look at.
Sure, it's an interesting space for sure, but it's extremely volatile. I'm basically riding the momentum at the moment. That's it. And I just laid down my game plan here for you. It's very simple, really. It's nothing overly complicated about it.
Yeah, no, for me, I'm just doing spots. So basically, I'm just buying at the cheaper prices and holding until some point that I decide to sell. Basically, it's nothing too complicated either.
All right, you just have to have some downside idea, right? Like a protection, or when you're gonna exit the trade,
Yes.
or like you like not in we always used to make fun of those guys, that buy a stock, and now we're back to stocks, and then instead of turning it in intraday position, they would say, no, this is a buy and hold now.
Yeah.
No, I completely, for me, it's just, there's a few that I'm holding for sure, but most of I have a couple that I'm just waiting for them to reach a specific target, and then I'm selling just to keep accumulating.
So for me, it was purely technical. I just put a little bit of attention on the projects to see it's not a completely fringe thing, that there was adequate volume on it. I'm looking on a daily close. I'm trailing on the 20 moving average daily. That's it. Very simple.
For me,
nothing overly complicated.
What I find that works best with crypto is chart patterns. Basically, triangles work best with that for me. That's what I found. Just for me, experience it. That's what I did. But I have a few projects that are longer holds. But for the most part, just certain targets, cash out, and then refund and redo the process again.
Yeah, sometimes it makes sense to see also how are the altcoins moving against Bitcoin, and then there's this season in a way for them. I only got into that, I think in 17 the first time, even not much before that. So next question I see, do fundamental factors in crypto? No, absolutely not. No clue. Yes, of course. Right now everybody's talking about Ethereum being not fast enough anymore, too expensive, and these kind of things. But we don't want to make this a crypto talk here completely today, I guess. But no, I don't pay too much attention to these things. No.
See, I really don't look at cryptos at all. But I want to know your opinion. What's really driving this entire thing bullish at this point?
Okay, so basically, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, these kind of things doesn't ring a bell for you at all.
Nothing. Me
All right,
to
great.
crypto is
Wow,
like someone to Antarctica. No idea.
That's a hornet's nest you're stinging in, basically. So Michael Saylor is a very smart, actually a rocket scientist from MIT, and he was one of the very early investors into Facebook and Google and these kind of companies. And he has a software company that does business intelligence, basically meaning computing data and give Facebook and Google's idea how to use the data they are collecting from all of us. And he's saying that the opportunity that he sees in Bitcoin is something that he's never seen before, like much more than 10, 20, even more. And the way he sees it is that basically Bitcoin is a monetary network, and it's really there. Like, look, if you look at like what is the point of storing value? It's like it's a container for human time and labor. So it's a storage for energy. It's like a battery in a way. That's what money is, and you can use that energy then for other things. And his thinking is that, look, if you wanted to, like, after this whole COVID thing happened and the central banks are printing like crazy, you have like a cost of capital that is realistically around 10, maybe 15% per year. Basically, your money is losing value at that rate. Your battery is bleeding power 50%. So in 10 years' time, you don't have anything left, basically, from a purchasing power perspective. And if you look at currencies like the yen or even the dollar, but in the yen, you see it even more. That's quite true, and so his argument is that Bitcoin is a independent thing. There's no central authority about it. It's deflationary because there's limited supply. There's no more than 21 million Bitcoins ever that's going to be there, and also it hasn't been cracked, so it's not really MySpace any longer. It's clearly the Facebook of money in a way, and to bring an easy comparison. And there's not even enough Bitcoins in the world so that every billionaire in the world could have and own one only, and so. But also there's so many applications, guys, like in terms of how this makes so many things more independent. But really, the wall of money that's coming in now is institutions. Like the Elon Musk was a Twitter exchange between Michael Saylor and Elon Musk, where Michael Saylor said like, "Hey, I'll share my playbook with you," because Michael Saylor, when he found out that his capital is burning 50% a year. He has 500 million cash on his balance sheet. He's not spending money too much anymore because he completely made his company side like YouTube. He says, like, whenever I need to go see a client anymore, I failed. He completely digitalized his own. And then he had a problem. He needed to create shareholder value for his company money. And in fact, he went in with a couple $100 million. Then he created even a convertible note, meaning he took debt on his company and dumped it into Bitcoin. He made billions already with that by now, within a couple months. Oh. And that playbook, the legality, the custodian, how to store the Bitcoins and where, and how to get board approval, and all these things that companies need to go through, all these hoops they need to jump through. He figured that one out completely, and he made it open source. And he made a meeting 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago where over 7,000 corporations from all over the world joined to learn how they can use Bitcoin on their balance sheet instead of keeping the money in treasuries or in cash only. And Elon Musk was an early adopter in that, in comparison to others. But that's why I think there's a huge interest in the institutional space to get involved with an asset class that, if you look at it from a, let's just say, 5 to 5 year basis, has never been worth less. Actually, no, it's actually appreciating at a rate of 200% a year. In comparison, it has mad volatility in between, but in a longer term perspective, it was less worth. So I personally, and this is really do your own research kind of talk, I think everybody should own a piece of that for a financial future outside of the fiat system that's just being inflated indefinitely the way it seems, and yeah. I could talk about this forever, so I have to stop somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Like, I could talk about currencies on and on and on. The same thing about crypto, just... Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think, like, as you said, right, like, everyone should be invested. I bought some Dogecoins, and I think it's just really interesting to just see how they're moving here and there. I mean, they're all at a very, very nice price here too. You know, so I think if anyone's looking to invest something like that, I think invest in something like which costs less but has like a much higher upside. I bought like Dogecoins for about like $1,000 just for like fun, just to see like how they move up and down. It's really interesting. Like
Yeah.
every day, there's either like a change up or a change down. So yeah, they've been
Yeah,
slowly,
these things
slowly
can
learning
trend
about it.
heavily. And Doge, I mean, that's the most funny coin of them all because it was created as a meme, like as a joke,
Yeah.
you know. And but I really think like everybody should Google, you know, Michael Saylor and find out a bit more, educate yourself, and make your own opinion what you think about that. We're talking about like the financial future for all of us, and I do think that it matters to understand that. Because the promise of Bitcoin is being self-sovereign, you know, like you being independent, your own guy, you know, that your value can be stored over time and you can move it through space, because that's the problem. You know, dollar, you can move it through space easily. You know, I take it from here to the US to wherever. But over time, it's losing value. Gold, it keeps money, the value over time, but moving that from one country to another will be difficult, and you need to protect it, to safekeep it, and all of these things. You need an army for that, basically.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin really inherits both of these things. It's thermodynamically sound, as Michael Saylor calls it. Like it really, it adopts all the physical aspects that money needs to have, really, and just pure money. So that's why I'm positive. And I've been holding, like, just keeping, not trading Bitcoin for a couple of years now. And yeah, I went through the crypto winter, and I probably bought less than I would have wanted to, as it was at $3,000. But you know, hindsight is 2020. It's easy to say that. But the use case and the seriousness of that has just been enforced this year, especially through corporations now seriously considering or even moving some of their balance sheets from treasury assets, basically your piggy bank is what it means, into Bitcoin. You know, it's not money that you need access to, that you want to be using. It's something that you want to take a loan against in the future. It's like buying a real estate, you know, like it's like if you had like a big piece of real estate in Manhattan, you wouldn't sell that. It's just getting more and more expensive as inflation pushes higher and higher and higher. And that's kind of, Bitcoin is a digital counterpart to that, if you believe that. I personally do.
Yeah, you know, when you talked about Michael Saylor tweeting Elon Musk about, you know, like, let's make this into like billion or something, like some that number. Do you think that these big players, they talk to each other privately?
Well, in this case, that was funny. When they asked Michael Saylor, he said there's restrictions to what you can say as a person of a public traded company, you know. So that's like kind of how they escaped answering the question. But I do think yes. I also think I think that sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when that tweet came out, I also think that was a very smart play to really pump the coins up as well, because, like, you know, if they can talk to each other privately, there was no need to make a tweet that, hey, I'll show you my books, which is something.
No, he said, I show you my playbook, because Tesla at the time, he had no idea whether that would be actually possible. That's kind of the way he put it out there. But Michael Saylor, for like, make no excuse about that, he's definitely been on the move to push his own coins up, and he's succeeding madly with that. But everybody else is participating, you know. It's also and having taken advantage out of it, and it makes sense. What he says is not wrong. So, but is there some healthy self-interest at play? Well, yes, sure. He's not making, you know, he holds about 71,000 Bitcoins, and he's not making it a secret. Of course, he's interested in that to appreciate. But he's still saying, I would never sell that. I keep that forever, you know, and that, I think that approach really makes it not only a short-term speculation, and why you want to look into the detail. And he's been literally on hundreds of interviews. Like, the amount of work he's put into educating people what this is insane, really. He did this series with Robert Breedlove. It's like 9 videos. Each video is like an hour and a half, and it's all about how technology always was the dawn of a new civilization or of a new era in human history. And how Bitcoin is a lot more comparable to, the discovery of fire or the usage of steel or these kind of things. And they really go through these concepts and talk about them hours and hours. And I think it's fascinating. That's the stuff that I really, pay attention to, that I'm really interested in, because I think that's it's so impactful to how our future might look like, and we kind of get to live in that time. So I click with that. I resonate heavily.
What about the big
Alex.
brother? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just one question. Do you think the governments are going to permit this?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
So also there's an answer to this. It's called game theory. Like, not all governments, and game theory basically says that people would typically choose short-term gain over long-term pain. You want to eat the cake and you don't mind if you get fat. And basically that's why there will always be some country that's probably like Venezuela, like Iran, like any countries that basically their own currency is dead and being killed every day more and more and more. They have a real need for these things, and that's why it's a decentralized system. So really, even if the government said we're stopping to do this, there will be others that will take that spot and actually make it an advantage for themselves. So that's why also, if you look at it, we're talking about $1 trillion market now. I don't think they can just stop that now, especially like with companies now. Tesla is even accepting payment or planning to accept payment. You can see it on their website. I don't think, I think governments would shut themselves out. They want to put a lid on it somehow, but if they start, if the US closed down, there will be other countries quickly catching up to exactly that. And basically what you're doing is you're losing the next Silicon Valley. And I don't think that the US is interested in that.
Yeah, but China, for example, that they're going to launch their new digital currency.
Yes, digital currencies itself, they are not really in my opinion, it doesn't matter for Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin itself is different because it's decentralized. Nobody controls it. It's had never been hacked. It's the standard. So I'm not talking about all cryptos when I talk about cryptos. There's a lot of, for a reason, there's the term shitcoin, right? It's funny that this is a crypto conversation today now. But I'm talking about Bitcoin, not even Ethereum. Ethereum's a lot more of a question also because Ethereum does all these smart things, like, smart contracts. You can code a loan or whatever type of business transaction, you can code it into a contract. And then you don't need a third-party authority to govern over it because the technology only will allow for that, and Bitcoin is a storage of value that has tested so far, or has stand the test of time, of 12 years. Obviously, it's not too long, but and it has massive market cap. It's it's secure, has been secure, and so that's what I mean. I don't think that any of that will be taken away from a government crypto coin. No, not at all, actually.
I think.
Hi, Alex. Just gotta. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just a quick question: which altcoins do you see having real potential in the near future or even long term?
Look, guys, I really think that's a question you should answer for yourself. Obviously, I wouldn't go too fringe here. Of course, if you have a little play money, Doge style, you could put on that. But whether you believe that Cardano is going to figure out the problem that Ethereum has now or not, that's something I can't tell you. That's something you need to research and find out for yourself whether that's worth your money or not. And what I can tell is that from a non-speculative perspective, from a long-term monetary storage value, I am a huge believer in the Bitcoin standard. That's something I can definitely say. I have some Ethereum myself, but the other altcoins are rather small place in comparison, and that's what I can say for sure. So I don't want to push out some coin name now and then and actually it's the opposite of what I stand for, what Raj stands for, which is take own responsibility for the shit you do. And so I've got to play that ball back to you, my friend. Sorry.
It's highly speculative. Highly
Yes,
speculative.
absolutely.
If you got in, let's say a year ago, that was the best price to get in. But every time, let's say every year, these things are pumping up 100%, 150%. So there's no set good price at this point, the way how I see it.
It's price discovery, yes. But look, in the aspect of Bitcoin, the idea of where the money or why it may grow in market cap is that we have 100 trillion large of a financial problem in this world. You know, we have over 100 trillion assets or money in assets that are losing value. So, you know, and we have bonds are not paying yields. Recently, the yields on the US got a little bit up again. And you've seen like the dollar, how it moves through the market, but there's no alternative. That's why we already see, you know, you think that inflation is CPI. CPI is a fucking joke. It doesn't even include cost of living or education or eating. Like, what the fuck is this? Sorry, like for cursing here now, but like whoever can believe this shit, seriously. It's supposed to tell you about the consumer prices and it doesn't include cost of living, like, and you're accepting that? Come on. Why? Because you learned it at a fucking university? Okay, that's why you see we have a problem with how education works or worked. You know, and it's common sense. You can't accept that. And everything that you can, that is rare, that is sought after, you know, try to buy real estate in I don't know, in the Hamptons, you know, or why do you think stocks are going up like crazy? You know, stocks are going up like crazy because there's no alternative. If you keep the money in cash, it's losing value. So you rather take a bet on the future that it will be worth more, and what on companies that have very little cost to their business model, digital companies. You know, Tesla is a bit of an exception here, but Google, Facebook, like, you think they have a cost of producing their products to us? No, they make a shitload of money for something that doesn't cost them anything but some electricity in a way, you know. And obviously it's coding, the development, all of that, but they don't need, look, if you buy a car, you got to buy raw material, you know, to produce that car. You don't need that for a digital product.
What's stopping Bitcoin from going down like it did back in 2018? So when it rolls like crazy, and then it completely shot down.
So in theory, it could happen. In theory, it could happen with the dollar as well, you know, like if, but the adoption, actually, the network effect, the more people have been using, actually, the more Bitcoin is worth, the less the chance of a complete blowout to the downside is, in my opinion, because there's more people invested and more people that really have a, like an interest in not selling, you know, or breaking this completely. It was a lot more speculative. So the bigger the market, that's what you see. Why do you think penny stocks move more than large tech stocks in a way? Because they need a lot less money to be moved. And the more the market cap of Bitcoin actually goes up, the less volatility you should see. But Bitcoin itself, being this clean, decentralized monetary storage of value, is going to suck, in my opinion, a lot more value into it. Probably also it can replace gold for its function of being able to keep the value and the ability to move it through space. It's easy to move Bitcoin. I can move 100 million Bitcoins in 2 minutes for $5 cost. Try to do it with anything else. You can't, you know, and not, you know, not
back
going
then in 2017, I bought in at like $3,000-4,000 at the time, and it completely shot up to what, 15, 16, 17,
20, yeah,
or 20, about that. I mean, luckily I took, you know, 80% out, so I made a huge profit. I had like 30 Bitcoin at the time. But yeah, and it just completely shot down. So I'm just saying, like, it rolls like crazy, like it is now.
It could happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that the stakes are so much higher today and there's more interest. You think like a Michael Saylor with his 3 billion, or a Tesla that made more with 2 weeks holding of Bitcoin than ever in their whole history from selling cars. Yeah. They're not going to talk to their congressmen and whatnot to make sure that this thing is not going to die. You know, like there's more interest at play, more bigger interests at play. You know, can the market be manipulated so they get quick or cheaper entries again? Yes, I think that's absolutely possible. But again, you're looking at it from a too short-term perspective. From a year-to-year basis, there can be easily 50-80% volatility, even though today I don't expect it to be that big anymore for the reasons that I just mentioned. But from a 5 to 5 year perspective, this thing is appreciating 200% a year. That's the fact. That's the history that we see here, you know. And so I think that is actually a cool guy from I think from around San Francisco. He made a video that shows you like he's comparing the 30 or 40 projections, most prominent projections of where Bitcoin may go, and made an average, a mean out of that, and how many Bitcoins you actually need in order to be able to retire from that. Like 30 Bitcoins would have been a good choice to keep, but obviously hindsight is easy. And, but those are the reasons. And again, guys, it's something to get exposed to. Like even in a traditional portfolio, you talk about 1 to 3% maximum gold exposure to hedge against inflation. We're talking about these kind of numbers from in a Bitcoin context. That is, I'm not saying bet the farm on it. Absolutely not, actually.
Hey, Alex, I just want to also add that the rise in 2017 was because of the ICOs. And this time it's a bit different.
There's no ICOs this time. It's not like that at all. And the whole infrastructure is so much more in place. You have good custodians. You have like the legal issues are a lot more clear than 4 years ago. And all of the whole space matured, and there's a lot more market cap in. So all these things are factors that would allow you to think that there is and the thermodynamically sound structure of it now also being acknowledged by companies, on the S&P 500, like MicroStrategy stock, it went through the roof. Look at their stock, how it went over the last couple months, So, and all of these factors combined, for me, are give a good risk reward ratio here. Even today, still, now obviously buying now a 50K, 20, 52 even now is crazy. You would think, but just like look, if we are like in some way technical traders, so I bought at the 30,000 dip, but I didn't buy anything since then, and I felt stupid that I was willing to buy more at 30,000 in dollar terms than I was willing to buy at 3,000. But it has reinforced the idea in my thinking and my research and all of that really, and that's why I'm confident about it. Now, obviously, again, you need to do your own research about that, and you need to develop that confidence in it yourself, because only then the whole thing has a chance to really become what it promises. It's about you being sovereign, not a government, not anyone really deciding whether you get to spend your money or use it or any of these things, inflating the value of your money. Like, look at it. You work for your money, literally. All the time and work that you put in order to get this $1,000, that $1,000 buys you in 10 years a lot less than it buys you today. So you are being depleted of your value. It's literally, going away. And that's why people invest in businesses, assets, things that go up in value that actually make up for the inflation. And again, the idea of a central bank, meaning we play all the game where we're all bound to certain currencies, and there's get to be one player that can infinitely increase the money supply or reduce it. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how does that make sense? It's just a rigged game. It's not fair to nobody. And in my opinion, at least, and that's why I think having some exposure, at least to learn about it, is the number one step. Now, whether you think it's an investment case or not for you, it has to come from a level of knowledge, of understanding. And if I learned one thing through my father, actually, because he did many bad investments. He's a doctor. Once a year, some smart person would come and sell him some shit, and he would never make money with it. Why? Because he'd always invest in some stupid shit he didn't understand. And so if I took one thing forever out of this, is that don't you ever put a cent in something you have no clue about, ever. And even when it comes, to bring it down to the Forex world that we live in, how many people put their money on stupid signals or on stupid stuff they have no idea about what it is, where it comes from, how it works, and then they wonder why they're losing. Seriously, man, I think that we need to change that narrative. I think we are actually, but we need to continue to have that narrative. That's why I like to come here with Raj, because I think we resonate with same values pretty much. And even though we have completely different angles to look at things. What do you think, Raj?
I just stay away from things I don't know. Crypto, I have no clue. I stay away from them. I know about currencies. I stick with them. They made me money consistently. So I just focus on this right here. That's it. And guys ask me all the time, hey, which crypto you think is going to go up? I'm like, just go buy whatever you feel like is going to go up. you know, and then if it goes up, perfect, you're going to make money on it. But like, I like to look at currencies because there's some historical data, there's fundamental analysis, there's some technicals behind it. So in my view, it's much more easier, right? The way I'm seeing crypto is like, they just go up, and sometimes there's a big dip and then they go back up again, you know. And to me, that's sort of like a risky investment, especially at this time, because now it's just way too high. Everything is just way too high. So I mean,
Yeah, it's very high, and really differentiate a lot, please, between crypto and Bitcoin. Those are really, Bitcoin is really a different. Like, if you want to start to learn about the space at all, really just try to understand what Bitcoin is first, and don't get sucked into the flashy, shiny, making money world, to the moon, Lambo, whatever. It's the same shit like on social media and trading in the end. You know, like really to learn the thing itself first, and then expand from there.
Alex, any
Yes.
book or anywhere we can learn more?
What do you mean? Learn what more?
For Bitcoin, for example. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, any book, any website, any...
Really, like literally, guys, Google for Michael Saylor and Bitcoin. You will find a multitude of videos. Start there, and that really is most that you need to really catch up on first in order to understand what this is, and why it's why that case of why it's a good idea to think about to buying that.
Thanks.
all right. So the guys here talking about GU moving bullish. I think we are breaking the
Yes.
high here to continue up towards 140, 300 at this time.
Yeah, low-key, you took that buy, right?
Yes.
I can tell.
For it to continue moving right over here.
Yeah, very nice.
That's my fault.
Good.
Yeah. Well, we saw it breaking the high, and that's what we talked about too. If you break above this high, that's a very high probability we could continue up to this area at this point. Can you review my trade earlier? I haven't been reviewing any trades at all. So if you can send that trade to me in Slack, I'm probably gonna look at it later on here today. All right, let's take a look over here. What's this chart? Oh, we can't open this chart layout for you. Yeah, I think you sent the wrong chart. Ooh, we're at 140, 240, 250. About to tap into 140, 300 over here now. Like a quick 10, 11 pip move over here on pound USD.
Yeah. Was good. Was good.
What trades are you in? Sorry, I think I joined a little too late. Well, you came late to the class then. When you came late to the class, the professor is not going to repeat the lecture, right? To continue moving. Ooh, we got 6 minutes left for the 15-minute candle to close. I think we're going to tap into 140, 300 here now.
Yeah. There's like 6 pips to the upside.
Yes. Ooh, 281, 281. Can we? 271. Can we get to 300? 140, 290, 290, 281, 281. We still got a few pips left here.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to tap into 300 over here now. A lot of people got in buys on GU right over here. At this wick over here, once we broke the high at this point, at 188.
So the idea is always a momentum continuation, right? Like a confirmation of the break, and then ideally a wick, and then you want to basically get into as you break over the last candle's high.
It was a lot more, man. Yes. Yes.
This is UJ. No trade range. Great sells below this area. I think you'll need to see a candle close below to give you that confirmation to continue bearish at that time. This is a 30-minute chart here as well.
I'm looking at gold right now, seeing if we break above on 1775.
I think above 1778 you're going to have a better chance because you got clean candles here to the left hand side.
Right.
Yeah, the way that gold is behaving right now, it looks like it's gonna give you that pullback on the last day of the week to correct price, and so just be aware that we may visit 1780s.
Right.
Yeah, I like the rejection from support on all high time frames.
Oh, we got Alex in here. Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, man.
Hey, how's everything?
Good. Yourself?
Good.
Oh, nice matching
I was
hoodie.
wondering where you were. I didn't see the hat anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I got the hat on and the hoodie.
All right, we got 3 minutes left for this candle to close. Ooh, we're almost at 285, 284, 288, 286. We need 140, here. We got one more pip. 292, 291, 293. Oh, 325. Very nice. This is the analysis we had in the morning.
Very nice.
I
High five.
just got out right over here.
Oh, why, man?
It's Friday. Just secure where I can.
That's true. It's Friday then, but
it's Friday then. Yeah. So this is actually what we were talking about here earlier too. If we broke above that area, this is the rejection area we needed on a daily time frame, and we came up to that area. We were consolidating. We were ranging. One candle broke up, and then basically continued on. Ooh, pound yen is also about to break above 147, 720. 720, 740.
Yes. It's looking good.
Oh.
It's looking good.
Oh, it looks like a lot of guys in the gulag here got the GU buys here too. Some.
And there's like to the 4400 there's a nice 3 pips. But yeah, secured.
GJ waiting for the candle to close. Yes, that's going to be very important, because even though it's coming up to a very strong resistance, you want this candle to close above 147, 740, 750, because you got this wick here through the left hand side. And before the candle closes, we don't know whether it's going to reject this area or it's going to continue moving beyond this area. So if it starts moving beyond, I'd say like 147, 800, then it has a higher probability to continue on towards, 148. But this is a rejection we need to break out of here, 147, 800. Anyone got in GA buys? I think you need to send a chart for GA.
Raja.
Hello there.
Okay, so just a quick question. For a big move like this on the 15 minutes on GJ, would a close on the 15 would be good, or does it have to be on the 30 minutes in this case?
15 minute, it could be good, but at the same time, you're risking the next candle to kind of like do a liquidity grab back in the range. That's what you're risking at that point. That's why I think you'll need to see a nicer break above, 147, 800, because in the past, yesterday, price came up towards 147, 800 and it rejected it, right? So there's nothing to tell us whether this candle is going to reject this area here again or not. So
just for the safety, so for the next 15 has to break that wick high basically.
Yeah, so basically you'd want a candle to break above 147, 800, or you'd want to see a 30-minute candle close above this zone, which is going to be a better confirmation time frame candle.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, bye.
This is Bye. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, man. I just want to let you know that today is my first $100 trade, man. Really happy. Thank you so much, buddy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, bud. Thanks, bud. It was on GJ that I just took buys above the 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful, man.
I'm really pleased about that. And Alex, thank you so much for all your insight on cryptos, man. I'll look into it. It really
Thanks,
exciting.
man. Thanks.
Really exciting.
Didn't expect that, but happy to.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
First
Cheers.
$100
Yeah.
day. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
man. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, cheers, bud. Hopefully,
But listen,
uh-huh.
yeah, but listen, if you did this once, understand you can do this 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
kind.
definitely, man.
That's the belief you need to have now.
Like, yeah, I mean, I remember like when we were talking in London, like you were just like, yeah, man, simple process, just repeat it, 1 or 2 trades a day. Just been applying that since, and yeah, man, beautiful. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
I can see myself liberating and everything, man. Trust.
No, that's amazing. Those of you who don't know, Bhai was in our London boot camp. I think it was in. I think we had in April.
September, wasn't it?
Yeah, September. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't follow up until December, like end of December. Since Christmas is only when I started to actually practice, because I was like moving house and that. So like this is since December, end of December, really. Cheers, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. If Kerbin can stop whispering, I think we can hear him.
Yeah, what were you saying?
What were you saying, Karen? Yeah.
Something good about that.
Oh, sorry.
This man whispers to himself.
Are you buying GJ? No, I already had one buy on GU, closed at about 11 pips, and that's it. I guess we're looking for continuation above 147.800 on pound yen over here as well.
148.
Yeah, 148. See, Fridays are good in a way because if you look at the weekly close, the weekly candle can either continue pushing bullish or it can come down to create a wick. But the way the price is moving, if we break above 147.800, we can confidently say that the weekly candle is going to continue moving bullish. And if you look on the higher time frames here, 148 is right over here. This is the wick fill of the weekly back in December 2019. So with the current momentum, if we break above 147.800, saying that if the weekly can break its own high, there's a very high probability it can come up to retest the high made in December 2019 at this point. But I guess this is the area we need to break above 147.800. I'll be right back.
Alex, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Good morning, Brent. Right now, I am reading Market Wizards, and they are telling that it's not good to feel good when you win, neither feel bad when you lose. My question to you is, how do you manage your psychology?
I think in general, it is, repetition, first of all. You've got to have an intent. Like you really need to put your mind into something, and then you got to start doing it little by little, and then again and again and again until it becomes second nature, basically. And I do agree that if you want to get your emotions in check, that you also need to kind of expose yourself to situations that are emotionally charged, but even also simple ones, like don't get angry. I don't know, when you I forget something in the house and you need to go back inside to pick it up, or when you miss the train, or when you know what I mean? Like really, there's so many little opportunities for us to work on our psychology that we just leave aside. And really, it all comes down to your intent and to training of that. And the more consciously you do it and the more often you repeat it, the more it becomes your identity. Then you're not the person who's trying to be like that, but you've become the person who is like that. And that's why your emotionality is just so much more stable, and you're more confident about your ability to control your emotions because you've tried it and done it so many times. So it kind of ties into each other. It's a bit of a catch-22, egg and hen kind of thing. What comes first? But the very first thing is the decision, the intent, and to pay attention to that, and really not and call yourself out on toxic behavior or on very emotional things. Having a journal is very helpful for that, and really try to balance this thing. Not to you're not the master of the universe when you win, and you're not the biggest asshole in the world or the biggest loser in the world when you fail. But you kind of always, the more you kind of are in a little bit to the positive side though, but the more you are in balance, the more you're really able to see things in a neutral way and react to them in an appropriate way, and that will help you to stay sane and to pay attention to what's actually going on, and to make use of your skills and to make the right decisions, you know. And that's how I see it in a simple way. I hope this helps.
Yes, thank you, Alex. It really helps. Here in this group, we joke about meditation and visualization. Do you do something like this or nothing like that?
I have to say, I have been, it's an on-off thing for me. I have to admit, like, okay, everybody says, you got to meditate and it's the best thing in the world. And I agree, it's definitely something not bad, but I think it's more about mindfulness, that you just, you know, be present in the moment. It doesn't have to be some monk tradition to do that. You know, it can be a walk in a park. It can be playing Lego with your little boy. And you know what I mean? Like, there's a number of situations where you can really get into that zone in between, you know, and that's definitely a space where you just, it's also not about like, controlling your thoughts, in my opinion, and try to force them to not happen, but to just let them wander and to get more detached from that. And that allows you to be more an observer to yourself. You observe your emotions, you observe your thoughts, you observe, and that gives you a little bit of a higher plane to make your decisions from, using these as inputs and not being used by them. You know, your emotion doesn't use you. Your emotion becomes then a factor that inputs for you to make your decision, but you decide how much you take from it or not, you know. So mindfulness is something that I definitely agree with is helpful, you know. And also expose yourself to difficult situations. Like when the one side is really be mindful, the other side is like, don't be a chicken, you know, like, I don't know, go take ice baths and walk around, go jogging, whatever, you know, like just challenge yourself, expose yourself to some planned suffering, and that will also make you stronger, you know, like you just become more that person that is capable to stand up to difficult situations, that has his emotions under check, and that is able to work with all of that in the heat of the moment and use it for himself. So that's what I would tell here.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Sure.
All right, we're slowly coming up over here. Some people are getting mad about me not talking about me being in a GU buy. Just as what we discussed yesterday, we can put food in the spoon, but it's your job to put the spoon in your mouth. We can't do two things at the same time because we broke it down. If we broke above 140, there's a very high probability we can go to at 14300. That's what we discussed here earlier on. So then that was all up to you whether you would want to take that trade or would you want to miss out on that trade. Can you talk about how we could have avoided the fake out on GJ support? There was no fake out on GJ support. Actually, there was no sells on GJ at all here today because prices ranged. You look, yesterday we made a support around London close at 147.430. We respected that support in London session. Pre-London, we respected that support in London Open, and there was no confirmations for price to continue down because we had these rejection wicks over here to the left hand side. So there was no sells on GG at all, hence then there was no fake out. Exactly since when does he trade GU on a Friday? Well, that's why, that's the whole beauty about being an independent trader. You can trade whatever you want, whenever you want, and still be profitable. Plus also, guys, you have to understand, I've been doing this for about 4 years now, consistently every day at the same time. You know, so there's a level of experience and a level of trust in your abilities that comes into play. Yeah, there are different levels to this game. That's why, you know, like you got to be fluid in the markets. That's the whole name came from, market fluidity. Got to be fluid as price is moving. So, you know, in 4 minutes the candle is about to close. And then we're going to identify whether this is going to be a continuation or was this just a move up to entice people to take buys and have them in drawdown below 147,700.
That's where you wanna for the price to stay above that resistance. If this candle goes below the resistance, then it's done.
Man, this social media thing is crazy, right? I mean, can you even believe it? You have 100,000 people that may potentially look at stuff you do. I mean, this is insane. It's like a whole football stadium more, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like on YouTube right now, we have what 3,400 people watching at this point. That's
fantastic.
That's still a lot. Yeah.
So really, nobody should tell me like this world is bad and unfair. Sure, it is, but look at these opportunities. I mean, we never had those. Our grandparents needed to go from one continent to another on their fucking feet, in order not to be killed by some barbaric whatever. What are you talking about? Like, seriously.
You're doing things that you said you wouldn't do. Why is that? I think instead of complaining to me or complaining on the stream, I think the only complaining you should do is to the man in the mirror rather than to complain to the man on the stream, because the man on the stream doesn't care what you do, where you're from, what your background is, nothing. I don't care at all. The only person that cares about you is the one looking at you in the mirror. So go complain to the man in the mirror instead of complaining here on the stream. This is a free stream, right? You can't come here to complain about the things you didn't execute on and someone else executed on and made money on it. That's not how things work over here. Trading is a very individualistic game.
It is, though. Including the misspells.
Yeah.
No, but kidding aside, you gotta take responsibility for your own always. Not even only a trading thing. Like, you're gonna go through a miserable life if you don't take charge of everything. Everything is your fault. Always puts you in control so you can change it.
Yeah, you know what? And this is why I really encourage people to go over the sessions, right? Because let's say you were only looking at pound yen and you missed out an opportunity on pound USD and then someone took it and now you're mad about someone taking it and you missing out on it. This is your opportunity to go over the session to see how you could have taken that opportunity. Because trust me, I look at euro yen, gold, pound yen, GBP AUD, GBP USD, and every time when I'm missing some opportunities, I'm always looking over the session to kind of like explain to myself how I could have taken that opportunity. Because these things, as you mentioned again, are going to happen over and over again, right? So let's say a month from now, the same opportunity happens on pound USD, and even if you don't trade it, you're going to look at it and say, hey, this happened a month ago, and I believe this is going to happen again here today. And if it happens, your trust in that opportunity is going to increase more. And then let's say a month from there, if it happens again, then maybe your trust is going to be to the point where you'll be executing on it. Right? That's how you grow as a trader. You don't grow by complaining that you missed a trade. You grow by revising the session to see what opportunities you missed or how you could have placed yourself in the instant to really capitalize on it. Just like on euro yen, there's nothing at this point, right? We look at gold at the same time. Gold is just ranging over here. See, we're still ranging. Pound yen, we're still waiting for the candle to close. There's no such opportunity. Maybe there was an opportunity right over here. Some guys took these buys over here. They were risky. I didn't like it, but they still took them, right? Why? Because people have the habit of going over the session, revise the sessions.
Yes, and actually, guys, that again is wisdom of the ages. It's just working in trading as well. The most really, I encourage everybody to have a little bit look into history also. Like, look at great personalities, read their bios. If you're interested in their stories, you could even read the little things as well. But the more you trial yourself, you review yourself, you ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What was within my control? What was without my control or outside my control? What could I do to improve? How can I rethink this? How can I approach it differently? How can I avoid to make the same mistake? These things are, if you don't do these things, you're not going to improve. End of story. I don't have anything more to add to that. Sorry. Like, I wish there was an easy pill to take, but actually I don't. Because you grow in the process. You become a better person. You love yourself more in that. There's really, you know, but back here, I hear they talk about DJ. So let's look at DJ. What's going on here? Nothing much. I don't see. No.
Oh. Thanks, James. James had a good breakfast here. The only thing I'm seeing is if we stay above 147 to 700, that's the only reason we should be pushing towards 147 950. But if we break below 147 700, then you know, then there's no move going up. So I think that's where your risk is going to be, down at 147 700. Ooh, I have 5 minutes left over here, and then I'm gonna head off in about 5 minutes. Got a call.
Morning, Roger and Alex. So, do you mind if I ask you guys a bit more of a personal question while I got you?
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, were you guys both always hardworking, or was there a turning point with your mindset or discipline?
Can you ask the question again, because I don't understand it completely? Like maybe try to say more what you're actually trying to ask.
Were we always hardworking?
I know. From what I understood, he's saying, like, was there like a point where you were like, all right, like, I need to turn on the gas? Like, was there a point in like your mindset where that changed you to being the person you are now? That's what I got from like the question.
You want to start?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when we came to Canada, we didn't come with much to Canada. I remember when we came to Canada, and I asked my dad, "Hey, how much money did we bring with us?" And he's like, "I brought 30,000 with us." You know, so we came to Canada, family of 6, with $30,000. We opened up a store, and I remember the first year we opened the store, our average monthly sales did not exceed $500. Right, so we were all working at the same time. We all had jobs. We were all working. So I think that hard work was instilled from the beginning. That, hey, like, listen, we're in a alien country, and to make it in this country, we have to work. We have to make money. We don't have to buy things we don't need. We have to be very conservative in our approach if we're going to make it. So, you know, like, we worked. I went to university for 3-4 years, dropped out, and then the reason why I dropped out was because I was getting older, and as I was getting older, I needed to make more money. So I dropped out, worked on the rig for about 2 years, 3 years, did door to door. I mean, since we came to Canada, I remember I've just been working my ass off. You know, haven't had a month break at all. Like the first 2-month break I had was this past year in December. I didn't trade. January as well, for the most part, I didn't trade at all. So, I mean, to answer your question, I think from the get-go, we've always been moving, always been working really, really hard.
Yeah, the way I understand the question is, I think you're asking is, like, if there was a tipping point, a changing moment in life that has basically changed the mindset or the action taking from that moment on. So that's the way I understand the question. At least. So
that's it.
For me, it's definitely like, I call this I told the story last time. It was like I call this literally my butterfly effect moment. I made some money with music, and I put it into FX by giving it to another trader to trade. Like, that's how easy I wanted it. Let just someone else make me richer. and what happened, though, he didn't make me richer. He actually lost that money in a day or two. And he didn't even answer the phone and all of that crap. And then, stupid and as I was, he answered like the phone like 2 days later or something, and then said like, I had a bike accident, and then he threw some loose statements back at me. Say, look, all my clients are making money, and if you bring new money, I'll trade it back up, and I trade you more up. You don't need to pay fees. And I was like, stupid. Yeah. I went to my parents, and they wanted to help their firstborn son, you know, and who was just a musician, and they actually gave me their retirement fund. They cashed it out and gave me that money, and we made my loss back in a day, but it was only an equity. And a trader called me and said, hey, should we trade close the positions? That's my butterfly effect moment. And I said, I don't know, you're the trader, you made 50 grand now in an afternoon, what do you think? And he said, like, we leave it till tomorrow, it's going to be double the money. Now, actually, I didn't know the risk I was running, the leverage I had, the FOMC meeting that was that same night. And next morning, I was dead. I had like 5K left of, like, literally, I was 6-figure debt. That was the moment when I said, okay, enough of this easy shit, enough of this dabbling around, you know, like, we burned the boats, there's no way to retreat. And this is when I got started. I went and I walked actually from bank to bank in order to learn about trading and financial markets, and got into one bank as an intern. Literally, I was cooking coffee and cleaning rooms in the beginning, but I knew, okay, I had to learn about this to ever have the chance to make the money back. And I think it was actually me being completely to the wall with my back. I couldn't even tell my parents that, like, hey guys, sorry, I lost your retirement. It's not a thing you just, you know, can tell like that. Even if you had no choice, you would still try to, you know, not tell it for as long as you're not dead, at least. And that was my moment where I really manned up to the task. I found some books. I just really, I quitted to see all my friends at the time that I had. Not saying that you need to quit all your friends, but really, that was a reset for me. And I only focused on really becoming a better person I was yesterday. And that, okay, I can say that today it's probably less enthusiastic as at that time. But that hasn't changed. I try to challenge myself still to be better than I was last year, last month, yesterday. And I think that is kind of the way that will carry you through life. Whatever the story is that will unfold, that is your personal story, depending on your choices. But having that ambition to be better than yourself came, in my case, from being rock fucking bottom. Like, you could drop any more than that, really. And yeah, that's my situation.
Thank you guys so much for sharing.
Okay, whoever took this GJ buys, secure some at 900. We're about to hit 900. Secure some and let the rest run. Stop loss at this point should be around 147, 740. Let the rest run.
This was the captain.
This was an excellent move here.
This was your captain.
Yeah, Caravan.
Was your pilot. We're approaching to the airport.
Yeah, because at this point, when we mentioned around 147, you know, 760, 770, you should be up easy 10 pips here. 900, secure, that's right. And then 148. If you get to 148, I think that's a pretty good bonus move here for today.
I haven't risked even like 5 pips in a stop loss.
My next target on my back, Erwin. My next target is actually 148, 200, and that's from a 4-hour high.
Yeah, well, you know, the 30-minute candle did nice run right now. So at this point, we're approaching to the 4-hour candle closing. So the 4-hour candle closing can easily hit the 148 and reject it at any given time.
Right.
So be aware of that. If you have a rejection from there, or even where the price is right now, then be careful with JJ, because it's Friday, you know, so you know that the weekly candles is massive bullish. So at this point, there's no way to look for sells.
Yeah, and it's incredible. We still haven't gotten any correction on the weekly or any higher time frame. If you see the weekly, it's just I think I counted yesterday. I counted maybe like 10 weekly candles. Just
there you go.
Straight bullish.
Beautiful. Even a gap on 1 minute candle. So
perfect. I'm closing half of it. Even the restaurant.
I'm running so far at 27 because I add another position, so I'm good for today. It was an easy move after all.
Kervin.
Yeah, man.
Your stop was below the 5 minute?
Yes, sir. Remember when I told you the first time when you got the first push, your stop loss should be at 147, 640 because you didn't want this the current 15-minute candle to close below range. So at that point, I wanted for the 15 and 30-minute candle closing above the resistance. I'm sorry. So if we get the close above resistance, wait for a small, 1 minute or 5 minute candle support and go for it, man. At the break of the 5 minute candle, that was a perfect example. We have seen this a lot in the 15 minute. So 5 minute works basically the same. If you manage risk, you're good to go, man.
Okay, I think we're gonna tap 800. I mean, 148. Sorry.
Yeah, 148 is a nice target. It's a strong psychological number. So from there, man, there's only two things that are gonna happen at the 148. A heavy break from 148, driving price probably to 148, 100, 148, 150. And if we just tap 148 and rejected it, then it probably is gonna start ranging between 148 and 147, 700. Be aware of that. That's why you gotta be careful with that.
This is great. Oh.
Yeah. But it's Friday.
All right,
Friday
guys.
was an easy move.
I'm gonna head out. Thank you for the 7 pips. Careful. Bye, Alex. Nice seeing you.
Nice seeing you too. Bye, guys. I'm going to also call it a day. See you next time around.
Yes, sir.
And
Alex.
keep working on yourself, guys. It's worth it.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Gulag,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye, 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 bye. Bye, Carlitos. Bye,
We
Carwino.
love you, Mac.
We love you.
Love you, Macaroni.
We love you,
Catch
Mac.
later.
Remember, guys, to secure. Secure.
Yes,
It's
sir.
Friday. All right. I'm out.
Respect, Mark.
Respect. Yeah, man. Mamba clan.
That sweater looks legit, Mac.
Where is Momo? Momo, you here? Momo. No,
Momo's
Momo's not here.
not here, man.
Oh, shit. Who came back? I'm Momo. He came back.
Hey, Carlos.
I'm
what's up?
here. Oh, Momo.
There's Momo.
Yeah. Momo, my dog.
Hey, hello, guys.
What's up? I'm out. Bye, Momo.
Bye-bye.
Carlos, you want to say something before we go?
Yeah, say something, Carlos. All right, I'm out. Bye, Rakeel.
Yeah, I'm gonna head off too here, guys. It's a Friday. If it goes to 148, so be it. But still, we had a pretty good run over here for this 5-minute candle here.
Yeah. Thanks for the GU buys also, Raja. That was nice.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, take care, everyone.
Take care. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you
Take
guys
care,
on
guys.
Sunday.
Take care, guys.
Bye, Rakeel.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Momo.